Let's look at how to solve a rational equation. Our strategy for solving rational equations is to first clear the denominators, but be careful at the end to check for extraneous solutions. So our first step in solving this is to find the least common denominator for all denominators that show up in our equation. To help us do this, let's go ahead and factor w squared minus 9. This is what we call a difference of squares. So we can factor this to w plus 3 times w minus 3. Looking at our denominators, we see two types of factors showing up, so we need to represent both of those in our least common denominator, or LCD. So our LCD is going to be the factors w plus 3 times w minus 3. The way that we use an LCD to clear fractions is to multiply every single term on both sides of the equal sign by the entire LCD and use that to cancel out the denominators. So we'll start out with our original first term. So we're going to take our 1 over w plus 3, and we're going to multiply this times the entire LCD. So w plus 3 and w minus 3. Then our next term, 1 over w minus 3 times the entire LCD. So not just what it's missing, but the entire LCD. And then also on the other side of the equal sign, w squared minus 3. I'm going to go ahead and use our factored form for this denominator times our entire LCD, w plus 3 and w minus 3. So I'm multiplying essentially just on top in each one of these terms times w plus 3, w minus 3. You can think of it as being over 1, if that helps. Let's fix that here. So now we're going to come back through and cancel. W plus 3 cancels in our first term. W minus 3, and here the w plus 3 and the w minus 3. So looking at what's left, we're left with 1 times w minus 3 plus 1 times w plus 3 equals w squared minus 3. So here, distributing by 1, we just have w minus 3 plus w plus 3 equals w squared minus 3. Combining like terms on the left-hand side, the minus 3 and plus 3 cancel. So we have 2w equals w squared minus 3. Go ahead and get all of your terms on one side so we can solve our quadratic. So I'm going to subtract 2w from both sides. So minus 2w and minus 3. So we have a quadratic equation. You can use any of our strategies for solving this. Factoring is definitely your easiest option. Thinking about two numbers that multiply to negative 3 but add to negative 2. You can do w minus 3 and the w plus 1. Set each factor equal to 0 and solve for w. So we get w equals 3 and w equals negative 1. So we're not quite finished yet. So the one thing that we have to watch out for when we're solving an equation that has variables in the denominator in our original equation is making sure that none of our solutions lead to any division by 0 issues. So if you think about our first solution here, w equals 3, if you were to take that and come back to our original equation and plug it into any of our denominators, in the first one we'd have 1 over 3 plus 3, that's okay. But take a look at this term. You'd have 1 over 3 minus 3, or 1 over 0. That's a problem. So we need to actually throw out this solution since it does not work in the original equation, since it leads to a term that would be undefined, division by 0. So this is what we call an extraneous solution. So it looked like it was going to be a solution to our equation, but it does not check out in the original problem. With our second solution, w equals negative 1, that works out in each one of our denominators with no division by 0 problems. So we're going to keep just this. So this is our only solution to this equation, just w equals negative 1. We eliminate the w equals 3 because of the division by 0 problem.